Good afternoon. I'm sure people are looking forward to lunch, and by way of incentive and to keep you focused, there is a small edible prize for those that are able to concentrate and work the hardest for the first part of this activity. That's the title of our presentation. As you can see, there's a mini instruction there, which is to get laptops ready if you have them, or mobiles as a second preference. I'm Martin Compton from the University of Greenwich.
I'm Louise Drum. I'm from Edinburgh Napier University, formerly of the University of Greenwich.
Which is why we're working together on this. Okay, so let's, without further ado, we're going to try and illustrate through exemplification, give you something to do, and that task is for you to work in groups. Obviously in a room like this, which is magnificent, but not clearly designed for group working activities. So around the room, you will see green pieces of paper that determine which group you're in. So we've kind of got one group over there, one over there, one over there, one over there, and then we've got 4 spaces in the middle. Gravitate towards, if you will, the pieces of paper as being indicated by Louise at the moment. Then
we've got one down here.
Yeah, there's one over there, that's good. With your mobile devices or laptops.
Everyone in this area, please come here.
Follow the instructions. If you're joining us online, welcome. I don't know where the camera is, so I'm going to wave sort of generally like that. There is also an option for you to have a crack at this as well. But those here in the hall, ignore this. Use your piece of paper, please. So it's not a prize for everyone, but we would hope that everyone will complete this task as swiftly as possible. But the winning team will be furnished with some minimal nourishment.
Okay, we can turn over now?
Yeah, get going, turn over.
You'll find a QR code and duplications for that QR code or URL on that page. Just pass the white pages around to your friends so they can scan it or log in. Please don't use the people in the room. Please don't use the one on the screen. That's for people who are watching the live stream. So please use the URL or the QR code on the pages that you've got in your group. Too complicated for you, though.
So not everyone needs to be logged on. You can collaborate, work what's best in a way that's best for you. The task should be evident, though.
So you'll find the task is in Google Slides. You want to make sure you're in edit mode of Google Slides. The second slide has movable words. Drag and drop them.
I don't want to worry you all, but the online group seem to have finished already.
people to click on the like button in the VFOX so we know how many.
Oh, okay. So if you're with us online, can you click the like button in the VFOX so we know how many people are participating? That would be great as well. Just a code to enter for those working online. Nobody's rushing to me yet with the piece of paper. I hope we should be close.
It's the green paper is the one you want to fill in.
Oh, look, here comes someone.
Hey!
I'm very hungry.
So close.
Oh, no.
So close. Let's have a look. Thank you very much. We have a winner.
We have consolation prizes as well, so keep going for a minute. If you're close, bring it up, your green sheet.
Online group, you got one letter missing. But yeah, do keep bringing those pieces of paper. We want to check. Excellent, well done, yes. So we have a runner-up there as well. Congratulations. Let's see. So close. 2 letters, wrong way round. Okay, as much as I'm sure you want to carry on with this until it's complete, we do only have a limited amount of time. So if you give Louise your pieces of paper as we continue with this, these are the answers for the different groups. You'll notice that they are actual words, but not words that are actually that easy to guess. So you have to get the things in the right order. What we'd like you to do is hold on to that experience. Think about how you felt doing that and relate it to the context, the problem that we had and the solution that we came up with, which is slightly different given that the context here is different. The online experience for those people who are watching online was a little bit closer to ours, but they didn't have audio. They were relying on text comments to interact with one another. But they seem to be able to do it a little bit faster for some reason. Maybe you have an explanation for that. So I'm not going to take any comments now, but we can save those for the end. So the context, we were working on online distance PG Cert AG program, along with Roz, who's sitting over there as well, with both UK and international participants. We have, as part of our scheme, weekly webinars using the Zoom webinar tool. And we were using a lot of the kind of chat, Mentimeter in the background, breakout groups, turning mics on, turning mics off. We heard earlier in the earlier session about some of the issues with Collaborate in these sorts of contexts. But we weren't particularly happy with the amount of participation. And I think any of you that have ever taught online, or perhaps even just participated in online webinars, will be familiar with this. When we talk to students online, we tend, I feel, and a lot of the evidence shows that we're doing this as well, that we're going back towards more transmissive modes of teaching. The pedagogy is much, much more transmissive. And the media, the mechanisms that we use, the tools that we're using can exacerbate that. So the skills and strategies that we use to encourage dialogue in classes aren't necessarily the same ones that we can draw on in an online environment. So we're finding new ways of trying to get people involved. So there are a couple of real issues with the way that we're asking people to interact. So they feel more visible, they perhaps feel more vulnerable, more subject to the surveillance of the tutors and their peers. So a number of these things are causing quite big issues that were preventing them from engaging in dialogue. So what we wanted to come up with was something that kind of mirrored what you were looking at here, or doing here, as a strategy for engaging them.
Okay, so what we did is we put together a series of Google Slides that the students online could collaborate on, much as you were collaborating today. Only bearing in mind that they are all at a distance, It's a synchronous discussion. It's a synchronous Zoom webinar that we are running, and we use the breakout rooms facility within the webinar to siphon people off into small groups of 3 or 4, where they would then engage in this problem-solving activity. And the thing that was most interesting about this, that actually this became a private space in the way that a main webinar room cannot be. So just as you were huddling in groups together, they were virtually huddling in groups. Some of them were using their mics to chat, and some of them were using the chat facility as well. So what we did is we had these instructions for the escape room, where they went through the slides. We'll probably progress to the next slide. And they had a drag and drop activity, which in Google Slides people can do at the same time. So they were dynamically moving around these words into this left and right for them to experience kind of collaborative problem solving online. And then afterwards we would discuss what it was that we were going to, what it was and the approaches that they were taking in doing that. And then they had an escape room code, much in the same way that we asked you to fill out your code on the page as well. So the student feedback that we had, people had quite a strong reaction to it. Obviously, they said they felt more comfortable talking to each other because there wasn't somebody in the room. It was okay to make mistakes. Again, that idea of playing and failure coming to the fore there. And some people indeed feeling this kind of panic. We didn't set a timer on them. Indeed, we didn't set a timer today either. But actually, there was this sense of urgency that they had to get on and do something and complete a task. And then other people talking about, well, they just had a conversation about what was happening. And I suppose most striking of all, bearing in mind the name of this talk, somebody said, actually, I had to put down my cup of tea and sit up and start doing things in the kind of the opposite way that people sometimes we think about online webinars. This is a passive thing. I can just sit down and do something. We passed over some responsibility and agency to them. So I think we'll finish up there, but we've got to hand out our prizes first of all. So if people have comments, any feedback, obviously there was some technical stuff happening there because people couldn't get into edit mode of Google Slides if they didn't already have it downloaded on a mobile. But if you have any comments or anything like that at all, who is our winner?
Sewerage won.
Sewerage won, and that was this one here. So that is Group 3A. Would you like to come down?
Congratulations. Yeah. Well done.
Sewage. Who came down first? Sewerage.
So while the grand prize giving is underway, are there any comments or questions about it? I think it was quite ambitious asking you to do this in such a short space of time, but hopefully you get a sense of that experience, which is what we were going for.
Who were our runners-up?
Oh, the second one was... No. Oh, it's here. It's this one.
Oh, yes, Fishways.
4B.
So 4B. That was something. Yes, what's your talk there? So obviously, we're going to post the wrappers to the online people because, you know...
I told them that they can take something from their fridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously, those Google Slides will be there in perpetuity for people to have a look at. We've shared the links there as well if people want to have a look and, you know, make your own copies and adapt it for your own purposes. Any questions, comments?
Hi, Stephanie Campbell from Southeastern Regional College. Oh, there we go, Stephanie Campbell from Southeastern Regional College. So just a tiny question about digital confidence and capabilities with the learners and the students. Were there challenges to overcome with, some people have a real fear factor, especially online, and how did you overcome those challenges?
I think one of the things that's central to the way we designed the program is that, you know, we're all coming to this online distance program with different levels of expertise and confidence. So built into the program is a sort of, you know, you might be on this rung, you might be on this rung, let's move up a few rungs wherever you are. And everything that we do is about challenging people to move on. So there's that sort of backdrop, that reassurance. And indeed, we had somebody who was there whose entire job was to support that improving digital confidence amongst the cohorts as well. But, you know, we were lucky. It was a PG Cert HE, so everything we do, it's experience it. These are the kinds of things that students are exposed to. So we had the perfect kind of narrative to frame that, actually. Yeah.
Maybe you can answer the bottom question there.
I was going to address the cheese comment, actually, but no, okay. So some of the tasks that we set the students, I mean, the illustration that we have on there is the classic one, but I think that the opportunities afforded by live presentation, drag and drop functionality, synchronous use of things like Google Docs is, you know, there's so many things that you can do. Completing tables, labeling diagrams, those kinds of things, all lend themselves in a similar way to the kinds of tasks that you had as well. Anything to add to that?
No, I think just the next question in relation to people who didn't like the activity, the only one was people felt a little bit of panic, and maybe it might be a little bit related to kind of the digital, not just their own capabilities, but actually the devices. And, you know, we were working with people in different countries, so, you know, access in terms of access to the internet and stuff like that, people found that, you know, they had to turn off their video in order to carry on with it, or they had to use a second device in order to actually access the activity. So there were things like that created a sense of urgency. But I wouldn't, out of all the things we did, I think as the webinars, and we had been doing webinars for a full term at that point, that they did respond very positively to this, in that they had something to do, they were given something to do, but it wasn't with the whole group, and more importantly, it wasn't in the big webinar, which was usually being recorded as well. So actually it was genuinely a private space for them.
A desirable anxiety, I would call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Hello, I'm Stephen Bruce from Edinburgh Napier University. I'm just interested in the challenges of transferring something like that into the asynchronous environment.
I think that's a really good question. Actually, these sorts of activities came out of asynchronous activities. So, for example, our induction activity is an icebreaker about icebreakers using Google Slides documents. So introducing all of our participants to the concept of multiple authorship on a single document, add your own slide, share an icebreaker with your colleagues or your future colleagues on this program, and then comment on those using the comment function. So introducing people to this idea that you can operate in an asynchronous way using a single document and do some quite interesting and creative things. And they're all academics, teaching academics, they go off and do it in much more interesting and creative ways, sometimes with, sometimes without Lego. Yeah.
I suppose the one thing to bear in mind about this one is that there's no kind of traceability about who moves what around. So if it's asynchronous, we don't know who's done that. And, well, it's debatable whether that's something you need to know or not. But whereas within a Google Doc, where people logged in and you can actually trace the history of who's done what. But yeah.
Great.
Okay. Maybe the final question. How long would you give students to complete the task? And what happened when groups finished earlier than expected?
We had an extension task built in. So the content of the example that we showed you there was about, what was it about?
It was problem-based learning.
Problem-based learning, that's it. Yeah, so there was an
activity.
opportunity to discuss some of the features that might be surprising, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About
counterintuitive ideas.
Yeah,
of what
counterintuitive things about problem-based learning. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the cheese.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks very much. Well done, everyone. Thanks.
Adina's work with learning technologists helps to develop skilled, data-literate students who can change our world for the better. Teachers and students can develop and share coding skills with Notable, our Jupyter Notebook service. Our Digimap services deliver high-quality mapping data for all stages of education. Future developments include a text and data mining service, working with satellite data and machine learning, and smart campus technology.